Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in this world. God bless you. This is Gloria White coming to you from Utah, USA. Today we're going to continue in Halley's Bible Handbook, and we are in the book of Revelation. Now, in my last video on the book of Revelation from Halley's Bible Handbook, I ran out of space on my video, so it just cut off. And I was reading this chapter 21, verses 1 through 8. The new heaven and new earth. This chapter describes not a new social order in this present world, but the eternal home of the redeemed, the Father's house of many mansions. One of the most precious chapters in all the Bible. How we love to read it. The first heaven and earth had passed away, as said in 2 Peter 3:10. The heavens with a great noise or explosion, ? And the earth and its works burned up. What amount of change in the physical universe do we not know? Or whether it will be this earth made over and renewed by fire, or an entirely different earth. Because he said he's going to make all things new. I would think that he's just going to make the earth new again, and the whole earth would still be here, but that the surface of everything on it would be burned up, and that he would make it over again like he had made it in the beginning. That's what I imagine. What do you imagine? Put it in the comment section. So, nor can we now comprehend to what extent, with our glorified, incorruptible spiritual bodies, we may be confined to any material planet or star, or to be free to roam in the limitless spheres of space. How we would love to know. Someday we shall. The sea is no more, but there is a river in chapter 22, verse 1. So we wonder if it is to be understood literally. Perhaps the fire by which the earth will have been consumed left no sea. Or perhaps the river of the water of life is not literal earthly water, but rather a beautiful symbol of life, which is in Christ. As he said to the Samaritan woman, "Whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst." That's in John chapter 4. And whosoever will, let him take the water freely. And that's in chapter 22, verse 17 in Revelation. The tabernacle of God is with men. In the Garden of Eden was driven from an actual immediate conscious presence of God. Here it is restored. In this world we walk by faith. Up there we shall actually see God and be with him in loving fellowship through ceaseless cycles of never-ending ages. No more death, no tears, no pain, no heartaches or sorrow. A new universe come into being. How wonderful it will be to be there, especially for those who have known little else but suffering here. Think of Lazarus. The greater the suffering here, the greater the glory up there. Without are the abominable. Many Christians are guilty of some of the things here mentioned. To us it seems that there are gradations of character, and we would not know where to draw the line, but God knows. To God there are only two classes, those who are his and those who are not his. Chapter 21, verses 9 through 27. The New Jerusalem. The Bible begins with a garden and ends with a city. The holy city, New Jerusalem, bride of Christ, wife of the Lamb, in chapters 2, 9, and 10. Trodden underfoot in chapter 11, verse 2. Here shines forth in all its glory. Holy city is the antithesis of Babylon. Babylon, the adulterous church, holy city, the true church, bride of Christ. The adulteress has disappeared, the true wife glorified. All right, and then a city of gold. So we can think of the apostate church is like the Antichrist church, and the true bride, the true church, is the bride of Christ. It's the real Christians. The other ones are just bad people, wicked, lost, just taken over by reprobate minds. It's not anything that we want to be any part of. And so let's try to get the message out there to everybody, that forgiveness is theirs for the asking. Here we'll continue in here. A city of gold in chapters 18 and 21. Shown to John by one of the same angels who had showed him Babylon in chapter 9 and in chapter 17, verse 1. Ancient Babylon, which had given its name to the adulterous church, was known as a city of gold in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. Wonder city of the ancient world. See pages 336 to 340. Now the real city of gold appears in its infinite splendor and magnificence. Yeah, Babylon had, a lot of gold, and they had a lot of riches, and it was ridiculous how much gold they had. But they had conquered a lot of peoples to get that gold. Should we go read pages 336 to 340? Yes, let's do that. Okay, now I remember we read pages 336 to 339. Now here in Halley's Bible Handbook, on page 340, it's the Babylonian Empire. In Daniel's day, the city of Babylon not only was the prominent or premier city of the pre-Christian world, but it ruled the most powerful empire that had up to that time existed. The empire lasted 70 years. Daniel was there from its rise to its fall. And then the kings under Daniel lived there were Nabopolassar in 625 to 604 BC, Nebuchadnezzar from 606 to 651 BC, Evil Merodach 551 to 560 BC, no, I'll pronounce that name. It's Neriglisar, Neriglisar, in 559 to 556 BC. Labash Murdoch in 556 BC. Nabonidus in 555 to 536 BC, and his son Belshazzar. Daniel's life in Babylon thus extended from the first year of Nebuchadnezzar through the reigns of the succeeding 5 kings, past the fall of Babylon, into the Persian Empire through the reign of Darius the Mede, even unto the 3rd year of Cyrus the Persian. And we can see that in chapter 10, verse 1. In all, from 606 BC to 534 BC, 72 years from the first year of the Jews' captivity till 2 years after their return from captivity, God's witness in the palace of the empire that ruled the world. Now we'll go back over here in Revelations. The measurements of the city: 12,000 furlongs, or 1,500 miles, the length of each side, or the entire distance around, 4 square. A cube, of which the Holy of Holies and the tabernacle, a cube 15 feet each way, and the Holy of Holies in Solomon's temple, a cube 30 feet each way, were types. The wall, 144 cubits, or 216 feet. Its height, or width, or thickness: if height, then the city within would tower above the wall. The measurements are in multiples of 12, which seems to be a symbol and signature of God's people. 1,000 times representing, or 1,000 times 12 representing the glorified capital of God's redeemed universe. 12 times 12 is 144. Its wall: 12 gates inscribed with the names of the 12 tribes, 12 foundations inscribed with the names of the 12 apostles, as if to say, the glory of the city is the result of foundation work done by Israel and the apostles in bygone ages. The tree of life has 12 kinds of fruit for 12 months. The general pattern of the city, 4 square, with its walls and the river of life, may have been suggested by the pattern of ancient Babylon, which was 4 square, its walls 60 miles around, 300 feet high, its 100 gates of brass, and divided in the midst by the Euphrates River. We're going to stop there. My voice is getting pretty hoarse. We will pick up there tomorrow, God willing. And as always, I love you.